going to tell you what really frustrates me about the situation with McCarthy getting kicked out and Matt Gaetz, the clown. It's frustrating. I see folks on the left or liberals who are mocking this and it's a clown show and this and that. And then when there are other folks on the left that are saying this is what we should be doing, why don't we fight like this? And I hear this really, really sort of low IQ response talking about look at the circus that's going on right now. Why would you want our side to be doing that? Devil's in the details, man. The reason it is a circus, and it is a circus, is because of the context, right? Gates is doing this for the gram, right? He is doing this for the gram. That's what makes it a circus, right? If Gates is successful at whatever he's trying to do, supposedly, it's not going to result in anything that's beneficial to we the people, right? The only one that benefits from this is him. He's getting all the attention, right? However, what the so-called squad supposedly advocate for, if they were fighting for those things in a way that Matt Gaetz is fighting for the gram, that would not be a circus. That would not be a clown show. Flip the situation. Imagine that this was the squad that just voted out Pelosi, right? And being that Pelosi is so powerful, that would be devastating to the Democratic establishment. This makes the squad, without a doubt, a threat to the Democratic establishment. This means that, unlike in the past, where they didn't matter and you could ignore them, you can't continue to ignore them because they have demonstrated that they're serious. They went after your queen and took her down. Even trying to take her down would be enough to give them power and some level of respect. Right now, the squad has no respect and no power in terms of against the establishment. Joe Biden's not worried about the squad and what AOC wants, right? And to whatever degree you think he might be worried about what AOC wants, it's more for the voters, right, who might like AOC. That's what he's worried about. He's not worried about AOC. AOC and the squad are not seen as a threat. Ignoring them does not, currently, it's not a big deal. Ignoring Matt Gaetz, not so much. Ignoring the Freedom Caucus, not so much. So they have a seat at the table. But it's a clown show because they don't really stand for anything, right? So while they have more power than the squad because they're showing that they're willing to go after their own, they're willing to cause this kind of damage, that power is watered down by the fact that they're fighting for nothing. Let me show you the contrast. Imagine if the squad were doing what Matt Gaetz is doing, right? Trying to oust Pelosi, right? They would, in theory, be doing it for things like the child tax credit, Medicare for all, increases on minimum wage, right? The Democrat establishment, seeing that these squad members are serious, they're willing to blow it all up for these policies. But in contrast, recognizing that there's a high level of support from the people for these policies, it makes them a serious threat, and it makes the Democratic establishment have to really listen and think about what they're doing, right? Maybe we give a little something, something. They want $20 an hour. Maybe we give $16 an hour, right? We do that, and the voters love us, right? And the main thing we have to worry about is our donors might not like it, but we're not giving them everything they want. We're not going all in. We're just a little increase on minimum wage. We think we can sustain that damage, in terms of the impact of our donors being upset. Well, the Freedom Caucus, the stuff that they're talking about is very unpopular. So it diminishes their power because what is the establishment Republican Party to do? They can't do the craziness that the Freedom Caucus wants, right? There isn't major support behind some of the extreme stuff that they want to do. So what is the GOP's position? That's how it's a clown show. Because they have all this energy, it's like you went to the club and you met this woman and she's got all the skin showing and whatever, and she's getting all, filling you up and all this kind of stuff and telling you stuff in your ear. And then it's kind of like, then when you want to take her home, she's like, oh, I got to go to work in the morning. All this energy, Matt Gaetz just showing his skin and, oh, look at this and, oh, you're so sexy, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes time to, okay, let's do it. What you gonna do? How are you gonna appease the Freedom Caucus? How are you gonna appease Matt Gaetz? The squad pushing for things that are popular, things that, if get passed, there's actually a benefit to the establishment, right? You pass things that the people want, the people are happy, that pushes up voter turnout, right? At the cost of lack of donor support, but maybe you don't need as much donor support if you get the support from the people, unless it's just about the money. But regardless, to compare the squad fighting for popular things, things that matter, things that are important to the American people, with Matt Gaetz fighting for the gram, for the likes, that's absurd. And then people who say, what's the point? Why they couldn't fight for Medicare for all? That'll never get passed. These are people that don't know how to fight. These are people that don't know how to get it done. Sometimes it's not black and white like that. I'm going to fight for this thing and then I get it, so I succeeded, or I don't get it, so I failed. No. You can fight for something, not get what you wanted, and still win. Because again, when you don't fight, when you go along to get along long enough, you have neutered yourself to where you become irrelevant. So even if the squad had fought for Medicare for all and lost, in some would say, an embarrassing fashion, right? The vote was overwhelmingly against what they're doing. It would still be a win. Because in the future, when the squad makes a lot of noise about something, they say, we want to do this, we want to push for this thing, you now have to actually listen to them and at least think about what they're saying, because they've demonstrated that they ain't playing. But instead what we get is a fraud squad that is playing, so they send a message that they are playing. So when they make a bunch of noise, who cares? Do you hear something? I don't hear anything. Somebody sing something? AOC is behind me? I don't hear anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you sure? Are you drunk? The way that you fight is kind of like the way you build a sculpture, right? Bit by bit, piece by piece, you keep working on it and molding it. You can't look at a sculpture and you have the nose and it's not proportional, it's way bigger on one side. And maybe the strategy is, the efficient thing to do is to chop off a big piece of it right away and then start molding it with detail. You can't get distracted with that single chop and say, if you chop it like that, then the nose is going to be slanted. That's not going to achieve the goal. Why do that if it's just going to, now the nose is not lopsided, but if you chop it like that, now you're going to have like a triangle side. When you're building a sculpture, it's bit by bit, piece by piece. Every little bit counts and matters. So even though that initial chop is not really getting you where you want to, in the long run, right, after you do the big chop and you come in and you do your little precise, molds or whatever you call it, then the end result is a perfectly sculpted nose. Every little thing counts. The messaging is a big part of it. It's kind of like dealing with a bully right? You let the bully get away with a little small thing, and you let him get away with that small thing again, then it's bigger things. And he's gonna try bigger things. And then over time, the bully has established that you are weak, you're spineless, you are irrelevant. So maybe one day you decide to stand up for yourself, and the bully laughs at you in your face, right? But if from the very beginning you show the bully that you do have a spine and you push back a little bit, maybe the bully still overwhelms you and gets what he wants from you. But you've sent a message to this bully that you're problematic. You're not spineless. You're a potential threat, right? Maybe one day you get mad enough and retaliate. Bully rather to bully people that don't fight back. The squad doesn't fight back. It encourages the establishment to bully them, to ignore them. If that's what you want, you're progressive and you want the progressives in the Democratic Party to be powerless and ignored and irrelevant to the establishment, well, continue to support their spinelessness and lack of fight. Because that's exactly what you're going to get. Don't blame the messenger. I'm just telling you like it is. You guys can wake up and realize what reality is and how this works. Or you can stay there mocking Matt Gaetz, the clown, for the clown show that he did create, not recognizing that you can use those tactics. It's not that the tactics are not the clown show. The clown show is the intention, right? The actors are clowns, and their intentions is clownery. That's what makes it a clown show. If you have serious people that take the same actions for serious reason, that is not a clown show. That's politics. That's fight. But you can choose to ignore me and continue, in your bubbles and people talking about it's good that the Democrats are more civilized and don't do this kind of nonsense and miss the nuance of the why, the context behind it all, realizing that that's the issue, not the strategy. This is Baby Channel. Leave me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell, people.